Hello and welcome. Well, we start with the European Commission, which has fined 8 banks a total of €1.7 billion, it's about $2.3 billion, for forming illegal cartels to rig interest rates. 2 of the 8, that's Barclays and UBS, were actually excused from paying any financial penalties because they revealed the cartel's existence. The rest of the banks involved are RBS, Deutsche Bank, Societe Generale, JP Morgan, Citibank and the brokers RP Martin. But this announcement does not mark the end of the investigation. Let's have a look at this in a bit more detail. With me is visiting professor at Cass Business School, Chris Roebuck, who has also held senior roles in some international banks as well. Chris, just go through again briefly, what were they doing that was wrong?
Effectively, they were creating a cartel and talking to each other about the rates they were setting for euro derivatives and for yen. So what should have been an open and fair market was actually being organised so that it wasn't an open and fair
between
market.
The banks. I mean, it was across. It wasn't just within one bank.
Oh no, this was across the bank. So effectively, they were making sure that everything was set up so all of them, to a degree, benefited. In simple terms.
And this is going to go on, isn't it? This investigation hasn't finished now, and then there are going to be more beyond that, aren't there?
Yeah. If you look at what's happening, we started with LIBOR being the rate in London. But when it was revealed that people were fixing the LIBOR rate, there are many, many different rates around the world. In Singapore, in Hong Kong, in the US, there's rates of all sorts of different things. So what the regulators started doing was to say, well, hang on, if they're doing this in London, and these are global banks, they could well be doing this around the world. Then, on top of that, the EU starts saying, well, hang on, if you're doing that, not only is that against banking rules, but that is also against anti-competitive rules. So we'll get you for that as well.
Of course, we'll look at this and we say to ourselves, well, of course, this all happened a while back, and of course, these people are being brought to account, and that's all well and good. But have things changed now, do you think? Has the culture changed?
The culture in banks has definitely moved on. What we're now seeing is the sort of layover from the past, the stuff that's coming out from underneath the stones. The culture in banks has changed primarily. If you look, for example, at the appointment of chief executives, you've seen the appointment of retail bank experts rather than investment banking experts to RBS, to Barclays, etc., etc. What's happening is within the banks there are significant expense being put out in relation to controlling risk. In the final analysis, the key here is for people in banks to know the difference between right and wrong.
But, yeah, it was a victimless crime, if we can call it that. I mean, who suffered? Who felt worse off at the end of the day?
Well, nobody actually felt worse off, but effectively a market was manipulated. And if you
Is that wrong?
If you let somebody get away with manipulation...
If nobody suffers, is it wrong?
Well, no, because it's wrong because you're manipulating a market, and the point is it's therefore not a free market. And if you can manipulate one market, then any market can be manipulated. And in the end, what happens is somebody somewhere in the long run will suffer. The key thing for the banks is to just get down from the top, from the chief executive, what is right and what is wrong, so that the people throughout the organisation don't even start doing things wrong, rather than looking at it and saying, oh, it's not illegal, it makes money, so who cares if it's immoral.
Chris Roebuck, thank you very much. Fascinating to talk to you again.